Attention, bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host today, Jackie, and we have...
G-Fifth.
And...
I am Magnus Antis.
And if that doesn't give you a clue what we're going to be talking about today, we are going to be talking about the second season of the Santa Claus series, which I don't expect a lot of people to have watched it.
You don't think so?
No.
The millennials, for me, he is my Santa.
Oh, he is
true.
Santa. I agree. Like, he is Santa. Everyone can agree upon that.
I do have to say, you know, with talking about Santa, I love the Santa and the new Ludacris film. It's now on Hulu and Disney Plus.
Right.
Right.
It was good.
Oh, do you guys...
I enjoyed it.
Do any
so.
of you have the beta?
Yeah.
Yes.
You got the beta too? Nice.
Yeah.
Probably because we have Hulu.
If you have the combo...
I think so, which
You-
was
you
nice. I was
probably
like,
get
seeing
it.
was like, can I watch Love Island on this? And I was all like, no, because I do have my password. You know, when you have a Roku, it's like you have to individually click it, and it's not really a secret password when you have to individually push
I know.
OK. And it's like, oh, we're really securing this from our kids here.
I know. I
My
always-
3-year-old doesn't have a chance because she can't identify numbers. 9? Yeah, sure, it's a 9.
You just have to like do like fake outs. So instead of going to 3, you go to 5, and then you go to 3.
And then I forget what I did, and I'm like, I don't want
Right.
to watch anything anymore. All right, going back with
Yes.
digress.
All right. We're talking about the Santa Claus series. They renewed it for a second season. And I don't know. I have mixed feelings on this.
Did you feel like it needed a second season
No.
after the first one?
I didn't think it needed it. I think it was good after the first season. I wasn't a big fan of the first season.
Yeah, I think I was more positive than anybody else, and I'll
Yeah.
probably be the more positive on this. Again, Tim Allen is my Santa Claus.
He is.
There's
Yes.
no other Santa Claus. I think the closest one is the one from 34th.
Street.
I was like 32nd
Jurassic
Street.
Park.
I got the Walgreens copy.
Jurassic Park.
Yes, Jurassic Park.
to Miracle on 34th Street.
Is that
You have a Santa? We have a Santa. You have a Santa? Say it again. We have a Santa.
You just have like Sam Neill just looking up, and it's Santa Claus.
We have a Santa.
Oh, I really hope someone can edit that.
Yeah, so those are the two millennial like Santa Clauses people have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna love it. I'm a ride or die. Do I like this season better than last season? I don't know. I'm kind of mixed.
Really? Well, we are getting into
A
spoilers.
yay or nay. Should we do yays or nays?
Yeah.
For it? Yeah, I say yay if you like a Santa Claus show and if you like the Santa Claus movie series, watch it. It builds on the lore. You get little like moments going, oh, they connected the original movie to this,
Right.
and that was cool. You know, it's fun for
Yeah.
that. There are still annoying characters. If you thought characters
Although
were
I
annoying in
felt
there, they toned down.
They did tone him down.
They listened to
they?
us.
Yes. Yes.
They
did.
listened to us.
Oh,
Did
yes.
they?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely,
Noel?
big time.
He was way toned down.
He was toned down.
I was like, oh, good. Someone gave him some medication.
So you say yay.
I say
Peter.
yay.
I would say if you've been watching the series, watch it. If you haven't, don't.
Your life will go on.
Yes.
I do say the villain Magnus Antis was entertaining.
Yes, he was.
He was the most entertaining character, just because it was just off the wall.
I give this a hard nay. Skip it. It's a waste of your time.
Oh, what a party pooper.
Yeah,
Someone's getting coal in their stocking.
I had
She's getting
to.
figs.
She's gonna get turned into a nutcracker
That's it.
for a Magnus.
That's
I
fine.
had to watch. I watched multiple episodes in a row, and that could have been my mistake. But I felt like I was
Small
stabbing
dose.
my eyes.
This may have been doses. small little doses.
Even one episode was hard to watch. And that's why I put it off watching it. It got to the point where Mark didn't even want to watch it with me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And he'll watch anything. No.
Just like Mike, he likes live cereal.
But let's get into, I guess, I don't want to go into like episode by episode, but
It takes off right where it ended.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the sleigh. Oh,
Yeah.
like, hey,
Christmas.
the family, delivers. They deliver Christmas presents together, and so they got to spend Christmas Eve together as a family. So it worked out, and then that's where Santa's like, hey,
this is family
this
business.
is a family business. Let's keep it in the family.
What were your thoughts about Scott's strategy of keeping it a family business?
I think it was an easy way for him to transition it because they already know what entails.
Well, and he knows that they have powers.
They have powers, and it's kind of like the magic is already there. Why try to find the right person to do it?
Yeah.
Think what Scott had to go through in the original movie to
Right.
become he went through a year of no fun. He gained. Does this look like a little weight to you? That's the funniest line.
What was it? Someone dressed up like that for Halloween, and I told Mark, I'm like, you have to do that. You have to do that.
It's just, I think it's really hard toll on anybody to go you're a normal human being, and now you're like this, the mystical, entity, So I guess it's just, I thought in his mind it logically makes sense, but no one wants Cal to be Santa Claus. Even the Mystics or the
Yeah, the Mystics like Sandman, Easter Bunny,
Cupid are like, nah, I don't know.
Right.
He can't really handle it.
Yeah. So basically Santa Claus is figuring out I gotta make this a family business and train and all of this. And then we get introduced to a new character, Mad Santa.
Mad Santa or Magnus Antis.
Yes.
I love it.
We're Magnus Antis.
He was trapped in a nutcracker, but because of the snow globes from the first season,
The magic,
The-
Santa magic. That was
Santa magic,
huge.
yeah.
That was
Yes.
a big theme for this season, was the Santa magic.
so Santa Magic released him from his nutcracker binds, and he was free. And
Well, you're at Santaopolis, and you get Fluffy. You get Gabriel Iglesias
Yeah.
playing Chris. I guess he plays Chris Kringle. That's his name.
he was, I don't know.
His
I didn't
character
care
was-
for his character.
His character was not developed properly.
No.
I thought he would have been a good Santa Claus
Yes,
replacement.
yes.
I thought that was a missed opportunity. I thought that was what they were building towards.
And were you
was that-
disappointed
Because,
when
like,
it wasn't?
Yes.
He was
He was
like
just a
high
fanboy.
spirit. Yeah, he was just a fanboy, and it's just honestly, I don't think they needed him.
Well, especially when he's all like, "Oh, can I come to the North Pole too?" I felt oh, he's gonna do something, and that's what's gonna make him. The
Yeah, he
Santa.
was a loose end. The funniest part was oh, Miss Claus, you were my first crush. There were funny little one-liners there.
Yeah.
That made me chuckle. And yeah, he was just kind of a weak character.
He was a weak comic relief character.
Yeah. And for a funny comedian such as himself,
Well, and I
it
think that's what
was
they
a
were.
missed opportunity.
I think that's what they were trying to do the second season of adding more comedy, but I just didn't think they wrote it well enough to do it for it to succeed. There wasn't much comedy in this season.
I don't know. There was a lot
No,
of
I
attempts
would.
to comedy.
I think
it's just
so.
whether you laughed at it.
Right.
Like Gary was supposed to be the comic relief, and if you don't like Gary and his constant drinking
Oh gosh.
his syrup, you're gonna have a hard time.
Gary was the same character in the first season than he is in the second season.
He did not
Yeah.
develop. Yes, you're
develop.
right. He didn't have character development.
And I didn't care for Gary. Again, I hate the deep voice fake acting. It just is
He's supposed to be this jaded elf that's been around
Yeah,
for
but
a
you can,
long
like,
time.
you can-
I've seen things.
Is it forced?
it's too forced.
It's kid acting. It's kid acting.
Imagine if it was like Disney Channel, like overacting for.
That's a whole other level.
That's another level.
What do you mean? This was Disney Channel
No.
overacting.
It's
No, Disney Channel
slightly better.
overacting is way different.
I don't know.
We'll
I
ta-
disagree.
We'll talk about it another episode when we talk about like TV shows we watched for Disney Plus, because I've been watching some of those Disney channels, and it's like, whoa, this
Yeah.
is different.
Yeah.
You know, we got Mrs. Claus. She's trying to get the elves back together.
Yeah, she's taking on a new role. She's trying to like be over security.
She's seeking a purpose at the North Pole because everyone else has magic powers. She does not.
and that was her identity crisis from season 1, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, who's Mrs. Claus? What does she do? What is she known for? And so, yeah, she wants to protect Scott. You know, I love when they brought up, geez, we're only into this like 10 minutes and you're falling asleep already, Jackie.
No, it's not because of that.
This is late night recording for the Matterhorn Yodelers.
It is a later one. So we got Cal. You know, he's
yeah.
got his girlfriend Riley.
Yep.
So that was fun just to see them there.
I think they toned his character down a little bit too.
I don't know. There's
I don't-
he did.
I think they
just-
toned it
it's
down because I think
hard.
he was very overbearing on the first season. I think he was a lot more bearable this time around.
A little.
When the siblings were fighting,
Yeah,
I hated him
sure.
I just hate.
because I like Sandra. I'm Team Sandra over Team Cal.
Yeah, for sure. But that's because, like, in just general in today's time in writing, they always, like, focus on a strong female character, which I love,
And they
right?
dumb
That's
down
great.
the man.
And then they dumb down the man. Or
Unless
the
you're Tim
kid.
Allen, you can't do that because
And
it's his show.
It's just like, why did they dumb him down so much? And it's just like, it's not realistic.
What are you saying, Jackie? Girls aren't smart.
No, I didn't say that.
I'm just joking. I know you. I
said-
I'm twisting your words for my amusement. I'm sorry.
Let's manipulate. let's get viral here.
I see what you're saying, Jackie. I do. I agree with you. Cal was made the punching bag. He's the Eric from Boy Meets
Yes.
World, where
At the
he's just dumb, naive guy. And then you get Sandra, who's smart, and now she's a witch.
Yeah.
And she's got powers.
Yes. And she develops a strong relationship.
She's now Animal Girl or Annie Girl or Mighty Dame of the Northern Stable Girl or Keeper of the Creature Girl.
I
Yeah,
feel
what was
like-
on the mug? I can't remember, but there was all these names that I had to write
I
them down. I
feel
was like,
like
this is
they
too fun.
just didn't know what to do with her.
I think she's...
She actually had probably the best character growth on the season.
Yeah.
She was the best actress of the season. I don't know. La Bella Fana is... I liked her more.
No.
this
She
season.
was. I'm just saying that, like, in terms of like what this season was about, I definitely feel a lot of the focus was on the daughter.
Tim Allen's daughter.
Right.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was.
Well,
that's where
yeah,
most-
because she
yes, they
was-
were trying to train the Cal.
He was just
but-
a side distraction.
But that was kind of like
He
the
was.
comic relief storyline, whereas her story was actually like
adding conflict to the
it was
story.
conflict. It added substance. There, like it gave the season more of a purpose with her role.
Yep.
But like my whole thing with her, like I mean, I think she was one of my favorite ones out of everyone.
She got a positive review with you.
I mean, I had no problem really with her, other than like
She doesn't owe you money. No beef.
there's no beef between us. Other than I just felt like the writers really didn't know what to do with her. They were like, okay, Cal, he'll be, the new Santa Claus, right? Like, that was their focus. But they're like, what should we do with her? She talks to animals, reindeers. But, like, what can you do with that? We'll make her a witch.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
was just kind of, like,
sure.
thrown. And it was like, all right, we're just going to go with it. And it was just...
Well, I think that was kind of the general vibe of the whole season. Was that
Yes.
like we're gonna throw these ideas at you, and yeah, that's a thing.
And that's why I don't like the series.
the best.
Like
the
the
best.
Santa amulet. Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yes.
Yeah. They. I was like, oh, okay. I guess that is a thing right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was thrown at the last minute. The history part was kind of fun.
Yes.
I like the flashbacks. I like episode 5 where they
You
talk
like
the
the
story
like
time.
dark elves or the
I
gnomes?
like the gnomes, and I
gnomes.
like Antis. Like, I liked how ridiculous he was and how he talked, and I was like, this guy, he talks, and it hit me like the last episode. I was like, he talks like an 80s, 90s professional wrestler. Oh yeah, oh I'm good. No, I need to eat. I'm tired, and like, oh I'm bad.
And
Oh I'm bad. Like the rhythm of how he talked. Like I thought he sounded like a politician in our modern politics, but then I go, no, he sounds like a professional wrestler.
Yes.
And that's what made it kind of fun to watch him be kind of ridiculous in his statements.
So here's my problem with Mad Santa. Was he wasn't evil enough for me. He was
He
like
wanted to turn all the bad kids into nutcrackers in Europe. That seems pretty bad.
well at first, yes, the original thought, but his development in the show, he was like, "Oh, I can't get the Santa magic," and then he would like, "Oh, I'm gonna gift everyone things, and I'm gonna help this like broken down Santa town."
Well, that was to gain attention.
right. I understand that, but like.
You felt like he needed to do evil, like he
the-
needed to be a
well, the
bad
thing
Santa.
is,
Like
I wanted a villain.
his
Mag-
goal was just to become Santa, like to regain his power as Santa.
Right.
It wasn't to be evil. Like
No.
Mad Santa wasn't evil. He was just administering his form of justice of
Right.
like good and bad. Like
I just wanted more. I just wanted them to cross a line a little.
what line is a good line for Magnus to cross to be evil?
Burn a child.
I mean, he was burning Cal as
I
a nutcracker
felt
in
like-
the end to establish who's
Right.
Santa. Like,
I felt like the what's his name? Frost. Jack Frost.
Okay.
yeah,
I felt like he was more of a villain than Magnus Antis.
Well, again, we've got a seasoned villain, and could it? And I feel like this is where
this is a 3-hour like Santa Claus movie broken into 6 episodes.
right. And so, like, this is probably my biggest critique of the series was that it built into something. Oh, this is gonna build into like this epic fight.
It got to the last episode and I was like,
conflict, and then it just
is this it?
falls flat. Like
Yeah.
the big Santa versus Santa was just
Oh, it
two
was
old
so
people
bad.
running around a desk. That was it. That was the big
They,
Santa fight.
two
then
people
going,
believe that they
"Oh."
own the desk and the office, and they're just
It
old
was
men.
disappointing.
And then it was just like, oh, I guess I lost.
It,
That's
it,
it.
it feels like
If
what
he was weak.
they're
I
both weak characters because they're old men like fighting over
Right.
where the lamp was supposed to go, and like the nameplate says my name. Oh yeah, well I changed it and now it says weird
mine.
creepy man.
Yeah,
You know, like
I agree. These scenes were horrible.
it is a weak story.
I wanted more.
As I said, I think the buildup was all good. It was just it ended poorly. That's my take. I think everything leading up into the end was fine. It was just the end when you got that final conflict. You go, oh man, we're gonna have an elf and gnome fight. Nope. We're gonna have a Santa off. Not really.
It's like I wish they rewrote the last 2
How
episodes.
could you write and like you brought up like we're discussing what we don't like about the Santa battle. What would make it a good Santa battle?
I mean, I would love to see like a legit like on the battlefield as
Yes.
if like they showed in the flashback.
Yes.
Where you
Oh,
have
so you
the-
wanted like in the cave
gnomes.
fighting.
You have the gnomes and the elves,
And
they're
you have like
and
elves
they're-
throwing presents.
So you
or,
want
like,
elves and gnomes dying for the sake of a Santa?
Well, they showed like elves fighting like giant like toy soldiers in the movies, so they could have kidified it.
Well, so that's where I'm at now with like, okay, so we're talking about kids' view. Do you think kids want to watch elves
If
and
it's-
gnomes
but the thing
battle
is,
each other?
It would have been.
Yes.
It would have been. It would
Hello,
have been.
Fortnite.
It would have been.
Well, there was a
silly-
Fortnite sword.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it wasn't gonna be like this big like epic showdown, Lord
they
of the
could have
Rings.
had
it
style.
wasn't like
fun.
Battle of the Bastards on
No,
like
no.
Game of
They could have
Thrones.
fun with it, like throwing like ornament balls
Right, it
or
would've
like
been-
cocoa.
It would have been
or-
like a cute final fight, or like
So you wanted
there's
a-
a big conflict. There's you still get the conflict, but it's still lighthearted and fun.
It was like at the end of the scene where like Betty was fighting with Olga,
Yeah.
and they
Yes.
that was awful.
That their fight?
Yes,
I love their fight.
I hated it.
Okay, so what do you like about the fight, or what do you not like about the fight?
I hated how they were like fighting, like you're not sharing, or like I can't even fully remember it, but it was just like it just didn't seem real. I don't know.
Gnomes and elves fighting? It didn't seem real to you?
No.
Okay, so Peter, what do you like about it?
Well, like you actually had a conflict. They were
So
actually
physical conflict.
there was a physical conflict, and then they transitioned it into like.
Did you like the resolution of making a
I
printer
was-
cartridge?
I thought that was funny. I actually thought that
I
was
didn't
funny.
mind that part.
It was like, I can only make useful things. I thought that was.
I
What is
didn't
that
mind
even
that
for?
part.
I don't know.
the toaster's like, well, that's a good start.
and so like you got some sort of resolution in terms of like why there was conflict between the gnomes and the elves, because the gnomes wanted to be able to make toys but they couldn't.
that
I
was a
think-
little bit better.
So
I think-
clear.
I appreciated that conflict and resolution. I enjoyed completely.
I think what got me during that fight scene, like I didn't mind like the end where like Olga was like building a cartridge or toasted or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just like their banter back and forth when they were actually fighting.
But
I
they're
didn't like that.
well,
And that was the writing's fault, not the acting, but the writing.
it's kind of hard because Betty is she's just straightforward.
She is.
There's no like humor with her. Even she does like when people go like, "Oh, you're making a joke," she's like, "No," like she's so serious. So I guess it would be really hard to have banter with someone so serious. And Olga is like angry serious,
Yeah.
like hostile serious. So to have these two fight each other and to ask for banter, I think it's a tall order. And like you said, you blame it on the writer. It is the writer's
It
fault.
was the writer's fault.
In that situation and how you view it, definitely the writer's fault for putting the two characters to have any banter, because they're both going to take it serious. Just one's going to escalate it too far.
And I didn't really like feel intimidated by Olga. Like they try to make her like I'm scary with my voice, and
She was. I would be scared if you had a gnome like that saying the things they said. I would be nervous.
Yeah.
yeah, but like they toned it down when they were doing the fight with Betty.
I mean, the fight is nerfed. I mean, you're not gonna get high choreography like in John Wick or any kind of
Yeah.
like a lightsaber fight.
Right.
It's Santa Claus. I mean,
Season 2.
Season 2, the Santa Clauses, which I thought it was just the Santa Claus season till I read like when I was reading the title, I was like, oh, it's the family Clauses. It's plural. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh, only took me 10 episodes to realize that's what the name of the title of the show
Right.
is. But yeah, it's nerfed. I mean, like you said, Disney Plus has a a
filter.
ceiling on the quality of their shows.
Yep. And we'll
'Cause they
talk
got-
more about that. on a
They
future
produce
episode.
quantity over quality in
Yeah.
some shows.
Yeah,
Oh
big time.
yeah.
Big
Even
time.
like when we saw that and just quick like tangent, Boba Fett and Mandalorian.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big time.
When Mando showed up on the show, the quality of Boba Fett went way up.
Yep.
And then, look, all right, so with Santa Claus, let's talk about Bellafana. I liked her. Do we like her
know,
storyline
so I'm-
inclusion back into the season?
I enjoy in general the story of Bellafana. I
That was her favorite hat that caught on fire. I made me chuckle.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I They toned her down too.
They
though.
they
felt like
toned
they
it
Smoothed her
down.
down because she didn't have to be so. She could be friendly with them because they feel safe with one another.
Right,
And I
but
figured that's good.
I enjoyed the, Santa La Befana
The witch,
banter.
like, oh yeah, that was kind of fun. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And
true.
so
With
you
like
didn't
the
really get
witch.
that. Like you got a little bit from Scott,
Yeah,
but not anything from Befana.
I think it would have been more fun to just see like La Bufana like stuck in an elevator with Santa Claus like for a scene. I think that would have been funny, like to have like banter and stuff. Just something similar like
they
that.
really didn't have many interactions.
No, she was only with the daughter.
And well, they had the dinner, which was like
Yeah.
they named the episode after it, and it was just the weirdest.
Yeah.
It's the weakest
Yeah.
episode, and it's the weirdest like dinner of just a jealous mom trying to deal with a
Yeah.
teenager. It was very weak.
Yeah.
And then they have to like with the Easter bunny. They go into the house and then they start smashing his house. I was like, "That's a jerk
Yeah.
move." I was like,
thought that was pretty messed up.
I was like, man, the Easter bunny gets turned into a lemon because of transformation.
Right.
And then you got to go in his house, do his job, and then you smash up his house. Like, that's a jerk move. Like, if I was Easter bunny, I'd be really mad at the clauses right now.
I thought it was interesting this season that I've noticed was they mention religious references
Yep.
multiple times
did.
that like they did not mention in past like movies or
Which ones? I missed it.
they mentioned Jesus
Oh, okay.
multiple times.
Right.
And which kind of just like caught me off guard because I'm used to like the
They
It's more
tiptoe
secular
around it.
Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about Santa Claus. I mean,
right, and it makes sense. I mean,
It's-
Santa
it's-
Claus and Christmas.
I didn't
is-
see that in the story of birth of Christ. You know,
Right.
But, I mean, like obviously Christmas is a very like religious holiday and stuff, but like usually they kind of keep that out of the movies or in shows.
I think that was a Tim Allen call.
yeah.
He's a
conservative,
Yeah.
and that's kind of his thing. And
I just thought it was
I missed
interesting.
it, so I didn't missed it this season.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that they mentioned it. I mean, it didn't like take away or anything. It was just kind of like they just threw it in there, and I was like, "Oh, that caught me off guard."
Yeah. I missed it, so I can't comment on it. It's Tim Allen. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Well, I know that he's heavily involved in the making of this show, so
Yeah.
because they wouldn't have the show without him.
Yeah, I can't replace Scott with somebody else.
It's
trying to be
it's
like
kind
Scott.
of like the
It's like George
Indiana
of the Jungle 2.
Jones or whatever. You know?
George of the Jungle 2, where you're like, who's this guy?
Right. Mhm.
So let's talk about who were the comedy reliefs, I guess. Like the characters that were just for comedy. I know Gary, they tried to force.
Gary, Olga, and dark humor
Yep.
with
Yeah.
how like violent, and then Magnus.
Yeah.
His how he holds himself and his like quick to escalate things or like get tired or just how he holds himself was kind of fun. If he wasn't in the season or how he was portrayed, I probably wouldn't have liked the season, but I wanted to see like what's Magnus gonna do now? Like how is he gonna get mad or how is he gonna like poo poo on the new Santa? Like
I kind of wish we had Magnus at the North Pole longer.
they should have brought him sooner up there.
Yeah.
And where he's working with the gnomes.
Yeah.
and-
Instead of throwing it all in the last episode.
Yep.
So, yeah. I think that would have made it better.
Then you have the dilemma of like, well, what is Scott doing? Is he back in Chicago? Is he?
Well, like they had that weird moment where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna turn you back into human," and then
He's like,
not
"I
do
could've done
anything
that?"
about that, and then you go back to becoming Santa again, and it's like, well, what was the whole point of that whole?
I think he needed to do it because he was the Easter Bunny,
Yeah.
Oh, right,
because it would look weird.
If Santa was.
Santa was doing the Easter Bunny,
right.
and so I guess
I did think that was
I
funny.
think
So
it was
like,
just thrown in for nonsense.
Easter Bunny went
like-
missing. Nobody noticed.
maybe they had a limit on how much they could do the Santa Claus like makeup, and so
right.
I know. So when they put him back, I was all like, oh. Tim Allen's really old.
Yep.
Because I watched him on Home Improvement this year, and I'm watching him and like he's 38. Well, that was 30 years ago, and so he's much older now, and it's just like my childhood, Tool Man is much older now.
Yep.
It's like put on the makeup back on.
What was your thought on the Santa Claus? How they portrayed him in this season?
He was scattered. I thought his character was poorly done. He was blinded by Cal's my son. He's the next one. He's the next one, and let's drink a root beer with Santa. Like, I thought it was cute. So like, having a beer with your dad kind of like moment. Progressing to becoming a man.
I felt like I missed like the Santa magic from him.
Yeah, like we were missing moments of like, the heartwarming moments.
Yeah.
He didn't have it with him this
We
season.
didn't have that. Also, I felt like they dropped the ball where we talked about this earlier. They kind of built up in the first season that like he needs to retire. Yes, he's trying to raise his son to be it, but like you didn't really get to see like them talk about his decline. They're just like, oh no, I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, they
okay.
kind of like at the end, they're just like, no, you'll just keep doing it. Hopefully it all works out. And as you guys are bringing up all these points, it's like, are they leaving you anything for a season 3?
What would they do for a season 3?
Because they kind of allude like Cal is going to college and gonna live a normal life because he's sheltered. He's like a homeschool kid where you're like, boy,
yeah, he needs to get out.
You have no idea what the world is really like, do you?
Well, the way things are going right now with Disney,
I don't think there's in season 3.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of complaints about Tim Allen and how he's worked in the. I've seen articles where people who were working on the show and they're like, oh, he was like yelling at someone and goes, boy, you're catching him on a good day. Like
right.
He seems like he's pretty hard to work with on this set because this is his baby. And so
it is.
He can say and do it as he please.
It's this and Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
That's true. He can do
that's his legacy.
Yeah.
He's like the Indiana Jones and Han Solo.
You can't replace him as Buzz.
They learned that lesson.
Yes, they
financially.
Did. Yes, they did.
What do you mean?
Oh, the Buzz Lightyear movie.
Oh, yes.
Didn't do so hot.
No, it didn't. But we'll talk about that.
Well, that movie came out last
later.
year.
Yeah, but
it'll go with the discussion that we'll be having when we talk about the state of Disney.
So we didn't talk about Betty or Noel and the other elves. Like, do
yeah.
you like what they did with Betty, where they kind of just like
kicked her out?
And then she showed up randomly. That was my
actually
thought.
appreciated her more this season.
Yeah.
I didn't like her that much the first season, but I really liked her this season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was okay. It was just like, I felt like they could have incorporated her more, but like on the world side of it.
Well, her story actually helps explain what happened to Bernard and Curtis.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And like, who's Curtis? Just like, it's the kid from The Kid.
That's right.
The kid from The Kid. I'm referencing a movie from 2000.
Yeah.
Was that 2000?
It was. I think it was around there. I didn't care for Eddie, the one that wears the sheriff hat, the one that helps Noel.
Oh, yeah.
The one that does the song at the end.
Oh, the music, was weird.
I like their little fun Christmas music, kind of. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. I didn't have a problem with that.
I felt like Eddie would have been a better head elf.
She's built for it better.
Yeah.
A character than Noel.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Noel.
I did like the Noel talking to the paper Betty.
Yeah.
And I love the scene where it's all like,
cute.
why are you talking to her? And it's all like, I'm sorry.
You're not allowed to talk to her anymore.
that
was
made
great.
me chuckle.
That was good.
It was a good moment going, oh, I like Betty. And Noel, we discussed it, they toned him down.
They did tone him down, but maybe too much.
I think it was just the right amount.
I think it was.
There were
just
moments
fine.
with Noel, I'm like, his blueberry moment, I was like, oh, good. He's got a wristwatch that tells him, chill out. You're annoying us.
Yeah, they should have given Gary one of like your two like your two
I love this story of like betting on the ponies. Had to pay off my debts. Like it made me chuckle. Do I like Gary anymore? No, I don't. It's still weird to see this jaded elf that it's a kid, but it's really an 800 old elf character. Yeah, it's tough.
Who was your favorite character this season?
Oh, Magnus for me. If he wasn't on the show, like I said, I wouldn't have enjoyed it at all.
Yeah, I think Magnus was the star of this
Do you think he
season.
saved it?
I think he was a life like buoy that kept it from drowning.
Yeah.
His story was the only story that I really cared about. I didn't really care about the
the
whole
others, the
No.
witch, the cow training.
No.
And that's what was good about the storytelling is they gave you glimpse of what happened, and you're always like, what did happen? Why was he so
Right.
mad? What was so ridiculous? How did he get trapped? How did he get out? That's what kept me in this.
I almost wish, like, instead of focusing on, like, the current Santa Claus, they just went back in time and just did, like, a Magnus Anus, like, Santa Claus.
And somehow he like
Just telling his story.
So we can just do that'll be the series going forward. is
Santa
the
Clauses of the
Santa
past.
Clauses.
Yeah, of different Santa Clauses.
I did like the one statement by Betty going, why do all the Santa Clauses have to compare themselves? Like, how do they want to know why they're ranked? And I was like, oh, that's such a guy thing. Like, am I a better kisser than your last boyfriend? You know, like, how do I compare? You know, that was kind of a funny little joke. And so, Magnus was it for me. I did like Sandra. She did
Yeah.
her acting improved.
It did.
And
It was
she
an
portrayed
improvement.
It was
a
more
teenager really well.
realistic.
It
Yeah.
was.
It-
It became
I would-
more natural.
Yeah.
Those were the two characters.
I mean, imagine what she was going through, having to hear like all the animals talk to her. That would drive me nuts.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, a curse more than a blessing for sure.
Just like enough.
Well,
I'm done.
does the Santa Claus understand the reindeers talking?
No.
No. Okay.
I could talk to them.
He talks
No.
to them.
You remember talking
Well,
to
he
Comet?
talks
Like,
to them,
okay,
but-
Comet. We go. And he'd eat the Crunch Bar. Remember the circle, like
Yes.
medallion? Not medallion like the cup or amulet, but like the medallion circle, like crunch. I was like, oh, yeah. Every time I watched that, I was like, take me back 20 years. Going,
Right.
man, I wish I could eat a giant Crunch Bar the size of a circle as opposed to a rectangle. Like, it makes a huge difference.
Those were thicker.
There were, so I could put two of them on top of each other, and I could get the same thickness.
There you go.
Or I could be risque and put a Crackle Bar and then a
Ooh.
Nestle Crunch Bar. I'll mix my chocolates. I thought he could always talk to them.
Maybe it was just like you can just understand, but not like.
It was more of like a miming sort of situation
Yeah.
where like you can kind of get what
I
they
thought
were
it was
saying.
like a Chewbacca Han Solo kind of like conversation.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I was curious if the Santa Claus could understand the same way that Sandra could.
Don't know.
All right. So what are your guys' like characters like? Are you similar?
It's hard because I just did not like the series at
Just
all.
hate it. And as I get it, I get the energy of like it's just I thought the storyline was
thought-
weak and there was shoddiness with it. Yeah.
I thought the writing just overall was horrible.
For me, it's still getting the glimpses of how they connect the old with the new.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean they threw
was-
in those like Easter eggs and like put in like glimpses into that related to the movies and stuff, but it was just like I miss like the like cuteness of the elves like in the first movie. And
The elves were not cute. Oh, speaking of elves from the first movie, who do you think makes an appearance at the hot cocoa stand?
It's got to be Judy.
It's Judy. I saw it the second go around watching it, and I was like, and she goes, and what cued me was like, oh, I have this special secret recipe, but Now I just use a Yahoo that's been left out of the site. And I was like, holy cow, it's Judy.
Right.
And it was cute. She's all pregnant. And you're like, oh, she's adorable. Like,
Yeah.
it was good because she wasn't in the second film. And she
Yeah.
was only, and so it was really cool that they brought her in. And that really, like, ticked it up for me. Going, yay, you brought her back for this one little, like,
Cameo.
yeah.
So I miss like the cuteness of the elves and like the magic of North Pole.
Gary's gonna ruin it when he comes in with an accordion, you know. Yeah,
And
gambling and
so,
accordions.
Yeah, that's what was missing for me, was just like it just didn't hit the right way.
There is a lot. It does not have cute Christmas,
No.
and
They were trying
you
to make
lose the magic.
Christmas to like today's time kind of, and like the negativity and like of today, and I wanted like pure Christmas at the North Pole, and I didn't get that.
Well, maybe they're addressing like Christmas in decline in this modern age.
Yeah.
You know, and they kind of talk about that. They do. That's the big issue in season one. And
It's a issue in every season, I feel like. Decline of spirit of
not the first one. The first one's all about
Yeah.
Scott's journey. The second one, yeah, there was that where you have the teachers and the believers. Yeah, you're right. They didn't build Christmas spirit up,
Yeah.
except for at Santaopolis. And
Right.
and I think that's the only positive thing you get, is that you get Christmas Town, and they have that. Find a home for Magnus, which was the weakest ending.
Yes.
What do I do? I'll werewolf myself. I'll just stay in the jail.
I know. I can be an actor.
I've always wanted to be an entertainer. You know, that was
That to me was watching, because my wife's been watching Modern Family. She's been binging through that lately,
and
so
that's who plays Magnus Antis, is Eric Stone Street. He plays the Mad Santa, and I thought he did a great job.
he did a great job.
Yeah.
But like, I'm watching that same time as my wife's watching Modern Family. I just see
You see
and
Cam.
I see Cam overacting. That's
It is
what I see.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's where it's like that's where the wrestling
Yes.
persona comes in, where once you've like see it and you're like, oh, okay, he's being the villains from his childhood.
Right.
You know,
I think they should have created a love story with La Bufana and Magnus Antis. I think that would have been entertaining.
well, when they made her the reason why she put him in the Nutcracker,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to do.
I know they made that the reason, but they could have written it differently.
It would have been
And
interesting.
give them more of a purpose, and they can live on the North Pole. And
But yeah, I have issues because he would be like, how is he mad? Because you broke up with her in past life,
Yeah,
and then
could
she
be.
turns him into a Nutcracker. Wow, we just made her a very unstable
Yeah.
ex-girlfriend.
she's a witch, so
I get it, but I like her.
I don't know.
I like her
There
character.
could have been something there more. It was just an idea.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that we can sit here and say, this would have made the story better, but it wasn't our story to tell.
No.
It wasn't. We're viewing it in this magical, lens.
Okay, so I know both of you guys said go watch it. Let's talk about some positive things you liked, and I will keep my mouth shut.
No, I think the positive thing is just the story of
Right.
Magnus. That's enough for
Yeah.
me. It continues the magic of the Santa Claus universe. I like building upon Santa Claus. I like seeing that Kris Kringle, the fluffy Iglesias, he was the kid's. His house was the house with
the canoe.
with the canoe where
Or
it
the
makes the
kayak,
mess.
whatever it is,
And I
yeah.
was all like, that was cool. I got the
Yeah.
magical, like, I got the little goosebumps going, oh, they brought it back. It's nostalgia for me.
Right.
And I'm the right generation to hit nostalgia right now. So, yeah, it was cute to see those moments. It was good to see the mug and also see Judy in there. And I was like,
Right.
oh, they brought the mug in. Yes, I know that's the amulet. And it was like, oh, okay. I was like, he's been wearing a amulet the whole entire time,
Right.
but it's the cup.
Cocoa
And,
mug.
Cocoa
oh, I can
mug.
feel the Santa magic. I mean, I was just like, this is cheesy bad. I'll go along. It's like Black Hole when the guy's like,
Yeah.
oh, Maximilian, he's coming to get me. Save me. And you're like, aren't you the guy in charge of him? Are you nuts? Like, that's where it was like, this is getting bad funny for me. And I
Right.
enjoyed that moment.
Right. I did enjoy the ending for Betty and Noel.
Yes, it was
that
very
was
sweet.
That was a very sweet
Honeymoon?
Yeah.
Because they kind of point out that like
You're not going to come back.
you guys aren't coming back.
They did do that. And there's like you said, Eddie can do the job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
But the kids are getting older, so it's hard to like cast the same elves as.
you're gonna have to come up with a good problem, a good crisis, and you have had 4 crises at the North Pole now.
Yeah. What's the next crisis?
Toy Evil Santa. You had Jack Frost. You had Bad News Santa, and then you have Mad Santa. Like, how many Santa takeovers are you going to have at the North Pole? Like,
Right.
I think I'm fine with there not being another one unless you come up with an original like crisis.
Right.
We've lost Christmas spirit. Like you said, Christmas spirit keeps declining. Oh, we brought it back up. And then
I think the franchise
the end.
has hit the wall.
I think they've milked the cow too much.
Where are you going to go with Sandra? I mean,
Where is
Tim,
she going? What is she gonna do?
and the lack of like, what growth is Santa going to get?
Yep.
Like he got somewhere. He's like, I need to listen to Cal. Like I know all these other kids, but I don't know my own kids. You know, okay, that's his growth. Parent of teenagers. But-
Right.
Yeah. I'll go back. If you've watched them all,
Right.
just watch it.
Yep.
Just finish it. There's some warm and fuzzies. There's some silliness. You know, if you don't want to finish, don't finish it. Like, it's easy as that. The ending, if you don't like Magnus, stop watching it. If you don't like the Mad Santa,
Right.
just stop. That's my thing. Like, it doesn't get any better.
No.
Agreed.
All right, shall we give him Mickey bars?
Mickey bars. Mine's
Peter,
got peppermint
Peter,
in
why
it.
don't you go?
2.5.
I give those a 1 question mark.
I'm going to give it about 2.5. Just for the finishing it.
Right.
It's not a 3.
No.
I probably won't ever watch it
No.
again.
I would rather go back to season 1 and watch the Santaverse episode again.
Yes, episode 5 of
Yeah.
that was
That was great.
that was the magical Christmas part that we
Yes.
were missing,
Yes.
Yes.
that we didn't quite get.
This is definitely a show of like, I watched it, now I'm going to move on with my life and forget about it.
And it can be a forgettable thing, but if you have nothing else to watch, because there's a lot of the same Christmas shows, you know, that people like to watch, it's something different.
It is.
But Disney Plus is coming out with quite a bit of new Christmas stuff.
Yeah. There are
They've upped their game this year.
Shows, yeah.
So I do recommend, if you want more Christmas spirit, like you had the Wimpy Kid come out. They have like
And they're combining with Hulu, so you've got some of those movies.
Yep.
Christmas movies on there. I mean, Disney Plus has all the Home Alones.
which I've watched. The two. The other ones don't exist.
Oh,
They're there.
exist.
There's
They're there.
pictures of them.
They're
But
there.
if you don't watch them, are they there?
My wife's a fan of the third one.
Okay. She's
Yeah.
younger than us,
Yeah.
slightly.
Slightly. But yeah, she's
I
like,
don't
I
even
like
remember
the
It's
the
got the
third
kid
one.
from Liar Liar.
Oh. Okay.
Remember
it's,
it came
it's
out.
Not, it's not even a Christmas movie.
Somebody brought up, like, I don't know if it's that one or the more recent one where the kid like goes to a place and he goes like, oh, I'm a kid that doesn't have things and I
that's
need
the
it.
new one, yeah.
And he like just takes the money, and it's all like, I just watched Macaulay Culkin. Like, the whole purpose of him and the second movie was to save like the charity and the money
children.
for the kids. So it was like, you twisted it. Like
Yeah.
Kevin was sweet, and you just made this kid unlikable, like
Yeah.
person that's
Yep.
preying upon Charity. So yeah, like that's one of those. Like I heard that, I'm like, well, now I definitely don't want to watch it. Like keep Home Alone as it is.
Yeah. It's Home Alone is a movie you just cannot repeat and
Well,
remake.
they have.
They did.
They did.
They did, but they failed. You cannot create that same magic.
You talking about the first one or both of them?
The first two.
Yeah.
Well, I would say they did recreate it for the second one.
The second one, yeah.
It is
We're
a
gonna go to our
recreation.
uncle's house that's under renovation.
I
Right.
actually prefer the second one.
The second one is more heartfelt.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's more emotion
I
involved.
love
in
the
that one.
turtle doves.
Turtle doves. I love the way he says it.
Yes.
Here are some turtle doves.
Anytime Mark sees turtle doves, like in the story, he's like, turtle doves.
I love the scene with the fake movie. You've been smooching with Cliff. And they're like, no, I wasn't smooching.
It wasn't me. It's not true. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad we can end on
On
a
a
good
good-
Christmas show or
And
movie.
Merry Christmas to all who are listening to this on Christmas, and happy holidays. We appreciate your listens here on the podcast. And let us know your thoughts on the series. Have you watched it?
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, we didn't even
What was
mention the best catchphrase. You
Ho,
know,
ho, ho.
ho ho ho.
That's it. Ho, ho, ho.
And I was like, I love that. That sold me. I was like, we've been saying it wrong all these years.
But yeah, you follow us on Instagram, Facebook. You can email us at matterhornyodlers@gmail.com. But thanks for listening. Have a magical day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.